Hey everyone, today I'm going to do a quick video about residuals. Residuals we mentioned and touched upon when we started talking about the least square regression line, and now we're really going to delve into what a residual is, how to find one, and also how to interpret it in context. So specifically the definition of a residual is it is the difference between the actual value and the predicted value from the least square regression line. So here we have a scatter plot, and it's talking about the miles driven on a used car, the Ford F-150, and the y-axis here is the price. The response variable is the price of the used car, okay? So as you can see here, there are some red points that are above the line of best fit, the regression line, and there are some points that are below the line. If a point is above the line, like this one here, for example, this means that the actual price of whatever it is, in this case the car, is greater than the predicted price. So remember, this line is the line that is the predicted, whatever it is that we're doing, the predicted Y value. So in this case, the predicted or expected price for a Ford F-150 that costs about 38,000, that has 38,000 miles on it, if you go up to the line, the predicted price should be about a little less than $35,000. But what was the actual price? The actual price was greater than that. It was about $43,000. So the actual price is greater than the predicted price. By how much? Well, we can find the difference between this y, which is the actual price, and the y hat, which is the predicted price. And this is going to be called a residual. So the residual is actually found by doing the actual y minus the predicted y hat. And I tell kids to remember it because they could remember AP. We're in AP stat. So A minus P, actual minus predicted. So in this case, let's say the actual price was $43,000 for this car, but the predicted price was only about $35,000. I'm just kind of rounding here. So if you do the math here, this is going to be about $8,000 difference in the actual price and the predicted price. And specifically, the actual price was greater than the predicted price by $8,000. So if I'm ever asked to interpret a residual, a single residual, in context, I would say, in words, the actual price of a Ford F-150 with however many thousand miles on it, 38,000 miles on it. The actual price is greater, because it's a positive residual, than the predicted price by, and then you write whatever the residual value was. It was $8,000. There was an $8,000 difference, okay? So this actually means that, the predicted price underestimated the actual price because that line is underneath that point. So it's an underestimate. So I'm going to write it is underestimated by $8,000. The actual price was underestimated by $8,000 approximately. So maybe that means that this car was unique. It wasn't typical. Maybe it was actually in better condition than they thought for the amount of miles that it had on it. But basically that just means that the prediction was off, okay? So if the point is above the line, this means that there is a positive residual because the actual is greater than the predicted. So when you do the math, a bigger number minus a smaller number is going to give you a positive residual, okay? Versus if you had, let's say, a car that was about 130,000 miles on it, like this one here, okay? This one is below the line, right? So that means that the actual price was about $10,000. That's the actual dot. But the predicted price, if you go to the line, it should have been about $20,000. So if you do the math on that one, actual minus predicted, A minus P, Actual minus predicted, $10,000 minus $20,000. You're going to get negative $10,000. Okay, so this means the negative residual will the negative residual indicates that the actual price is less than the predicted price. So this vertical distance, it is a distance, and you think distance is always positive, but it's a directed distance because the negative is just indicating that the point is below the line. The actual is less than the predicted by about $10,000. So actually this point is being overestimated. The actual price was being overestimated, okay? So I'm going to write that down. If you have a negative residual, it's actually an overestimate of that point. And if you had a positive residual, like over here, it's an underestimate of the point. So that is a crash course in residuals. If you go to down below, let's write the equation. The equation is actual minus predicted, or y actual minus y hat predicted. Instead of writing actual, sometimes we use the word observed. And instead of predicted, sometimes we use the word expected. So these go hand in hand, observed minus expected or actual minus predicted. Okay, and specifically it's defined as the vertical distance from the point to the least square regression line. And lastly, positive residual, point is above the line. And if the point is above the line, that actually means that the line underestimates it. Negative residual, opposite. Point is below the line. If the point is below the line, that actually means that the line overestimates it. Zero residual, actual is equal to predicted. Point is on the line. This is rare, right? Pretty rare. All right, so that's it.